hallmarks of being a classic. Ron Tischner won the first heat. He's from Palm Harbor, Florida, a local favorite. In the second heat, it was the runner-up in the series point standings, Jeff Stanton from Sherwood, Michigan. The third heat was won by the series points leader and winner of the first 4 events, Rick Johnson from El Cajon, California. With that, the main event is underway. Out in front, on a Honda, is Larry Ward from Snohomish, Washington. Ward, rider number 971, is being followed closely by that three-race favorite. And look at that triple jump. Ronnie Tischner, rider number 11. Now, that particular part of the racetrack has been a question mark all day long. You saw Tischner launch himself into that long triple. Most of the riders have tried it at one time or another. Most of the riders have come up short and have had their problems. Tischner, despite the rough, landing area, continues to pound away at that triple, and he makes up time. Ronnie Tischner has taken over the #1 spot in the early going of the main event at Miami, Florida. Larry Ward from Snohomish, Washington, a member of Team Honda, running in that #2 position, has had many a battle with Ron Tischner, even though both riders are in the early stages of their career. As amateur riders, the two pounded each other from one end of the country to the other, and now they're doing it again as pros. That was a quick look at rider #1, Rick Johnson. There he is on the right-hand side of your screen, moving through the pack. Now, Johnson did not get a particularly good hole shot. Johnson was back in about 7th or 8th place, but already he has started to move. The one thing Johnson cannot afford is to let the leaders get away from him. This Joe Robbie Stadium track, and we've said it many times, is extremely rough. It's extremely ruddy. Now, Jeff Stanton, rider number 7, who is in front of Johnson, and Ronnie Tischner, number 11, who is the leader, are both excellent sand riders. They're both extremely strong riders. If they get a big lead, then Johnson will have his trouble catching up. Johnson is the current certain, and Stanton goes down. Jeff Stanton, rounding the corner at the end of the finish line, washed his front end out and went down. Let's go back and take another look at that incident. There's Stanton. He just gets a little bit sideways, and it looks almost as if he grabbed hold of the front brake. Now, Doug Dubach used Stanton's rear wheel for traction. Hopefully, that will not damage Stanton's motorcycle. Meanwhile, there was Ronnie Tischner completing another of those triple jumps. And there's Doug Dubach, and Rick Johnson goes around the outside. The leaderboard looks like this as we watch Rick Johnson circulate around this tough Miami track. Ronnie Tischner is in front. Larry Ward's running second. Jeff Matasevich is third, and Rick Johnson has worked all the way up to the #4 position. So far in the 15-event Camel Supercross Series, there have been 4 races run. Rick Johnson has won all 4 of them. Just a week ago in San Diego, California, Rick Johnson tied Bob Hurricane Hanna as the winningest rider in Supercross history with 26 victories. A win here in Miami would put Rick Johnson, the Team Honda defending Supercross champ, all alone atop that victory list. And look at that, Jean-Michel Bayle, the French rider. Bayle just rocketed by Jeff Stanton on the inside. He is riding like a man possessed. Let's watch it again, and you'll see what I mean. Look at that. Now, that's the area of the racetrack that we looked at a little while ago that Damon Bradshaw was doing all of his antics in. So far, in the 250 class, there have only been a couple of riders to duplicate Bradshaw's feat. And Ron Tischner has run off the track at the end of that long triple jump. Rick Johnson has taken over the #1 spot in this 250cc main event. Right behind Tischner, that's Larry Ward, and coming on strong, Jean-Michel Bayle. The question now is, can Tischner put it back together? Stay with us for the conclusion of this main event on ESPN. Welcome back. Jean-Michel Bayle, rider number 111 from France, in the closing lap of this 250 main event of round 5 of the Camel Supercross Series, has just taken over the #2 position. We have mentioned many times the severity of this racetrack. It's made out of sand, and that creates a whole new set of problems for riders and tire selection. Here's Gary Bailey with a look at that.
Larry, the racetrack here in Miami is considerably different than that of the first 4 rounds. Rather than being the hard packed and the clay, it's much softer, more loamy style. Not only are riding styles going to change, but the tires are going to have to be changed. And the right selection of tires could make the difference between first and second place in the main event. Obviously, there are different brands of tires, but the main thing the riders look for is the lug pattern that is there. If it's a very sandy racetrack, the riders will use the tire with the taller knobs spread a little bit further apart. If it's a medium racetrack, which has a little bit of loamy and hard pack, the riders will use a much more solid knobs a little bit closer together. Then on the hard pack, the riders will go to a little bit closer spacing on the knobs, a little bit shorter knob, and usually a softer compound.